Hi, and welcome to the fifth in our series of 6 Taylor School masterclasses this year. We are having remote masterclasses with clinicians from all over the United States. And we're excited today to have Dr. Scott Donald, who is with us from Austin, Texas. So that is, I think, as much introduction as we need. First up is going to be Miya. She's going to be playing a mystery movie. So anytime you're ready, Miya.
All right, Miya. Well, thank you so much for playing today. It's really nice to hear you. So tell me about this piece. I mean, I don't know this at all. So you're going to have to tell me the story behind it. And for everything, there's kind of a story. We are playing music, but we are telling a story without saying a word. And so, what is this what is this about? What is this piece about? Mystery movie. So what's the storyline?
I think it's about, let's just say finding the case and taking out a bad guys. So this piece, it reminds me of Jason's side.
So there would be... There's a mystery, right?
Yes.
What is the, and how do, okay, so if it's a mystery movie, like we said, the mystery, what is the mystery? Do you have a storyline in mind, like what the mystery is?
Let's just say who stole the cookie jar or whatever.
Oh, so we're trying to figure out who stole the cookies. Is that what that is?
Yes.
It's a mystery, okay. And is the mystery solved at the end?
Yes, because it has an ending or
Yeah, so we got something like that, right? Okay, so I don't have a copy of the music here, so I don't know exactly what the notes are, but there's a couple things we can talk about how the music sets the story up, okay? So when we do this, and it looks like there was a crossover, was there, on that part after that?
Yes.
Can you play the opening one more time? What's interesting is there's a little bit of a delay. So when I heard you playing a moment ago, I saw the music, I saw you play after you were playing. So I'm trying to figure out the delay and what's going on. So can I see you just play the opening one more time? Okay, good. So I'm thinking, so you play the chord, right? Like that?
Yes.
Okay, good. So when you play that little opening idea, what is the most important note in that opening? Is it the A flat or is it the chord at the end? Do you know which one is more important?
I think it's the A flat.
The A flat, okay. And in your music, that chord is what are there musical markings around that? Like, is it played staccato? Is that what the?
Yes, it says staccato.
Okay, good. On the A flat, is there anything marked above that note? Is there like maybe an accent or anything like something like that? And if there's not, just tell me, because I don't know, I don't have the music.
I don't know what the note's called, but I do know that you're supposed to play it louder.
Play it louder.
Play it louder.
Okay, so sort of, it's like a suddenly loud moment on that A flat, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. So when we play that, when I hear, did you hear the difference in what I did and what you did in your opening? This is what I heard. I'll demonstrate a little bit. So this is what I heard in your performance, and let's see what you think. So did I play the A flat louder or did I play the chord louder?
The chord.
Yeah, I played the chord slightly louder, and I think from what you're telling me is that the A flat is the one that's supposed to be the louder one, and we have to figure out a way to play the chord softer. Now, it is staccato, so that means you're going to bounce off of it, right?
Right.
So what we have to figure out is how am I going to bounce off that chord without playing it louder? You know, can I bounce off it without being loud is the question, right? So do you know physically how that would happen? What would you need to do to play the staccato softer?
Just play just hit the keys off.
Oh yeah, now I have a pet peeve about the word hit. I always tell my students, I'm like, don't ever say we hit the piano. The piano hasn't done anything to you. You don't need to hit it. Be nice to the piano, right? So I tell my students, we're not gonna hit the piano, or we're not gonna hit the key. We're gonna bounce off the key. So like that right there, if you feel like in staccato, if you pull away from the key rather than down into the key, then it's probably gonna sound a little softer. So would you put your hand over the chord that you're gonna play, that C minor chord, and I want you to play it you're gonna bounce away from the key. Do that. Yeah, do that again. Yeah. So now you're gonna play your A flat, and then you're gonna play this softer. You now hear just those two things. How soft do you think you could play that chord? Let's see what you do. Yeah, and then down, up, right? Down, up. Play that one more time. Okay, your chord, was that a better, is your A flat here and then your chord here, or is it closer to there? You have to be the teacher on your own, right? So you're listening, is the A flat louder, and is that softer? Okay, one more time. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I like to do this with some of my students also. You're gonna grade your performance on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is the worst, 10 is the best. And my question to grade is, was your A flat louder than your chord? On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate do you think that was? Was it really good? That would be a 10. If it was really bad, which it wasn't, is going to be a 1. Okay, so what would you grade that difference?
8.
An 8? Yeah, I would give it an 8. Can you make it a 9? Let's try to make it for a 9. Let's go for 9 now. So what you're going to do is you're going to do play all of it now. Oh, that first one was the second one was really good. Now I think I'm playing. Oh, I was playing the wrong chord. So you got an F sharp in there, I guess. Yeah, I heard a difference there. Can you make it even more obvious? So pretend like I'm the audience and I have no clue. I mean, I'm like really clueless here. So you're trying to tell me, hey guys, this A flat that I'm gonna play is gonna be nice and loud, and this chord I'm gonna play after it is gonna be soft. But you can't say any of that. You have to tell me through the sound, right? So your sound expectation is you're gonna hear one more time. All right, did you hear a difference, yes or no?
Yes.
I did too. I heard a difference. And I heard it especially on the first one that time. You had your A flat was a little, and then that chord was a little softer. I didn't hear the A flat as loud up there, but I heard a difference now. So we got the basic mechanics figured out, right? The next thing is in your music. I'm just curious when you're playing this and you're going up to the A flat. What does the dynamic markings in the score tell me there? Is there anything special in the music for dynamics?
No. I mean, there's a slur, but
so there's a slur. Okay. Is there anything? Here, let me get my little marker board over here because we can communicate with marker boards. All right. So if I am if I've got my music and I see this, hopefully this will come out. I look like I'm inverted on the screen, but does that show me? Does that show going louder?
it doesn't right there, but on the measure 25, you're supposed to go.
Yeah. So in the beginning, there's no like crescendo mark, is there?
No.
Okay. You know what would be kind of cool? So I know who wrote this piece. Do you have a person that wrote it? Composer name? Okay. So whoever it is, Mr. Alfred Premier, probably Dennis Alexander. It's going to be I think it's kind of interesting we add a crescendo there. Listen to this.
Yes.
You like that? Yeah. So why not? We're you're a musician. You've got your own sort of ideas and instincts. So if that feels really comfortable, I would say try that. Can I hear you do that? Crescendo. All right. Now remember, your chord has to be softer. So we're going to crescendo. Sorry. And then pull away on that chord, and we'll have a winner. Let's hear it. Did you hear the difference that time?
Yes.
I thought that was really nice. I heard such a beautiful soft chord at the end. That was beautifully done, Maya. Really nicely done. So we crescendo a little bit, and we do it again. Right? So let's hear both of them, and let's see how beautiful you can make it. All right. The second one was better than the first one, but you are on the right track. You know what? You are starting to make that difference. Now, can I hear the rest of the piece? So I want to hear at the beginning, and we're going to hear all the way through it. Think about those. If it happens again, which I think it does, but you have to do the same kind of thing. Okay? The whole piece now, Maya. Oh yes. Now I can hear the beginnings of that idea that you're starting to do that in your performance. And when we practice now that do you have a piece of paper anywhere nearby, or someone you have any assistant that's sitting there taking notes for you? I would take notes and say, think about crescendo in your opening idea. Crescendo that every time. And that your A flat has to be louder, the chord has to be softer. That is your goal. That is your assignment for the next week of practice, or whenever you see your teacher again. That is your job this week as a musician, as a performer, is to make that really obvious to your audience. I'm going to crescendo here. I'm going to get softer on that chord. And if you do that every time, it will sound really creepy and exciting and mysterious, and all of those beautiful things that you're going to bring to life in this performance. All right?
Okay.
Yeah. So have at it. You know what? That's some nice work that you've done on this piece. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great job, Maya. Up next, we have Claire, who's going to be playing Stealth mode. Anytime you're ready, Claire.
All right, Claire. So Claire, can you wave so I know you can hear me? There you are. Yeah. There's a delay. Now, Claire, would you do that again? It was hard to hear you because the other room, there was some sound. So it was really kind of hard to hear. Would you play it again? I would really love it if you could play it again. I'm so glad that I had you play that again because the sound was so much better that time, and I could really hear you. That was great. All right, so Claire, what's the time? It's called stealth mode, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't have the music here, so I don't know exactly what's on the page. But what I could tell, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and you can confirm with me. We're going to play for the teacher to guess the markings on the page. We're going to play that game. So I'm going to guess that your music over most of the notes, especially at the beginning, everything is marked staccato. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I win a prize. What prize did I win?
Clap.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I got to have more now. I would guess that this is in a minor key. Is that correct?
I think so. Yes, sir.
You're not sure. That's an important one because the difference between a major sound and a minor sound is going to be quite remarkably different. And one of the things that's kind of fascinating that composers do is they set a mood and a feeling or character based on the harmony, the modality, as we call it, of the piece. So we have usually it's mostly it's between major and minor. Now, not everything is all that, but usually it's going to be major or minor. So if I played this, or if I played this, the first one or the second one, which one sounded more like the piece that you played?
Can you do it again?
I will. I certainly will. So this is the first. This is example 1. This is example 2. Which one sounded more like your piece?
The first one?
It is. It is exactly right. Now you win the prize. Okay. So there you go. Actually, I have something for you. I can, you win the Beanie Boo. Okay, there you go. All right. So that's our prize for the day. But it does tell a difference in the story. When I have a minor key, those kind of keys tend to fit like, Miya just played, and she played a piece called Mystery Movie, and you're playing a piece called Stealth Mode. both of them are in a minor mode, and it gives it a character and a sound. So I kind of asked Miya this question: what about her piece? What's the story behind it? And for you and your piece that you're playing, what is the story behind it? What do you think when you play this?
I kind of think of it as like a person sneaking through, like kind of like a Mission Impossible movie. It's just
Okay.
Yeah, it's just they're just sneaking through, and then as the song progresses, it gets more dangerous because then goes higher on the piano.
Yeah. So, and one of the things, so we were talking about it at the beginning, the staccato over the notes that I guessed is something that gives it the character of sneaking around, doesn't it? When you're playing, or whatever, I don't know what the notes are. That staccato sound, it kind of sounds like you're sneaking up, or you're in stealth mode, So the staccato is a really important aspect of the performance, isn't it? I mean, that's part of the character. So when you play staccato, let me ask you what you think. Is staccato more of a down motion or more of an up motion?
More of an up motion.
I totally agree with you. I couldn't agree more. So when you play it, it's like we bounce, we throw our hand at the piano and it bounces off the key, right? So the bounce is the biggest part of it. The up motion is the one that we want to feel more. So would you just do this? Take one hand, doesn't matter which hand, take one hand, hold it up in the air, and you're just gonna, it's like you're throwing a ball at your hand, and you're just gonna bounce right away, like it's a tennis ball. You're just gonna bounce right back. Can I see you do that? Yeah, so if we do if we do it in the air, just hold up your hand and bounce your other hand off it like I'm doing, like that. There you go. And it bounces really aggressively like that. Right. Yeah, that's fine. I get the idea. All right. So when I play, I want you to feel like you're just barely touching the key and you're bouncing right away off the piano. Would you play the opening one more time? Just the first, 4 or 8 measures. I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, whatever the notes are, I'm trying to figure it out. Something like that, right? When there's a crossover. Yeah. So you want to keep that really, really short and crisp and staccato-y, as short as you can. Can I hear that one more time? Great. Now, so my question to you would be, in all of that staccato, is the length of the staccato the same for all the notes? Do you hear it all the same as far as the shortness?
Yes, sir.
You do, yeah. And so that's an important thing. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we go. Is that last note? Is that last chord that you play? Is that chord louder, marked louder, or is it accented or anything like that?
No, sir.
Okay, but it's a surprise, isn't it? Do you want to bring that chord out louder? Do you like that, or do you want to be softer there?
I like it louder.
Okay, and I mean that's a perfectly good idea. It depends on what the composer wrote and then how you interpret some things. And if they didn't give you a marking there saying specifically play louder, then if it works in the music, why not? Let's hear it. Try it again. I love it. I think that sounds really exciting. Now, already you sound much more confident, and your staccato sounds so much more clean and crisp and energized. That's what we want. I mean, I'm assuming that's what the composer wanted. And you are now really communicating that to me as the listener. And that's what your job is, to communicate from the music what I'm supposed to hear. And if I don't know the piece, which I don't know this at all, and I don't see the music, I don't have it in front of me, then you have to tell me everything that's on the page. And that's what's the excitement of making music, is I'm going to tell the story through the sound, right? Okay, good. Can I hear you play? And then let's go. There's this really funny moment that, I'm sorry. That right there, you've heard that probably before in like cartoons or in show, like TV, something. There's that, we hear that theme. It's kind of a common little theme that we hear. It's kind of like spooky, sneaky. In that part right there, are any of the notes marked like different or accented, or is there a crescendo or anything like that? Any musical markings?
The beginning of that is supposed to be soft, and then when you press down on it hard, it's supposed to be very loud.
Okay, all right, that's great. Now, I told Maya I have a pet peeve about the way we talk about playing the piano. We don't press, we don't hit, we don't strike, we don't push. So there would be is there a better way to say that without saying I press harder? That sounds so mean. Like you're pressing, you're pushing. What is another way you might be able to say that doesn't sound so rough?
You play harder?
Well, that's a better, or you play heavier, right? Because the way we make something louder is we make our hands heavier, right? So if you said, I put a little more weight here and my hands feel heavier and I play louder. How's that? Yeah? Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
So it's supposed to get louder though, right? I think probably the A flat is the one that you're going for, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, so let me hear you play that and start softer, get louder all the way to that note, and then finish. Wow, where was that hiding? Did you go to Target and buy that? I mean, that was really amazing. I love that. I love that. Would you do that again? And then keep playing the rest of it after that. Yeah, and at the end, does it get louder at the end or does it get softer? Is there anything telling me what happens at the very end?
No. No, sir.
Okay. So what do you think? Then you're the performer, you're the musician. What do you think happens at the end? Does it get softer to the end or does it get louder to the end or what?
I think it should get softer.
I think that's a beautiful idea. I think you should go with that idea. So we got ba 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 boom. You know, it just kind of fades away. It's stealth mode. It's gone into the invisibility sort of side of it. It's that stealthy. We put a cloak on, a cloak of invisibility or whatever from Harry Potter, whatever. But you know, it just gets really soft, doesn't it? Could I hear you do that? I loved your, you know, and then get softer to the end.
I did that wrong.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's fine. You know what, Claire? I got the idea, and that's what's important. You'll work out the details in that, but that will make that so much more interesting. And at the end, the audience should be like, oh wow, that was really interesting. It was such a nice, stealthy performance. Okay, can I hear the whole thing all the way from beginning to end? Now, remember what we talked about. Your job. In fact, I hope you have someone. Do you have an assistant in the room that's writing down notes that's going to remind you of what we did?
Well, I have my mom, but I don't think she's writing down notes.
Oh, well, then you better. Isn't that her job? Isn't she supposed to just follow you around all over town and just write down everything? No, but you might remember this. There are some things that we talked about that you want to play. You've got that staccato. It has to be really crisp and really exciting. And then at the end, we're creating this drama. It's all about drama in this piece. So when you're done, the minute you're done, if you want to write down, that's going to be your job for the next week or so. Whenever you see your teacher next, your job is to think about what we did today in this time together, which you did some beautiful changes, and I want you to remember that so you can use that in your practice time. So with that said, I want to hear a nice, beautiful performance all the way through of your stealth mode. I love it. I really enjoy that. It makes so much more sense now. I mean, that you got so much drama out of those few measures at the end, especially. And the only other thing, and this is a little thing that I didn't talk about in our time, but you might think about also when you get that and you're doing your crossover thing, and you do that da 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 da. Are those? I don't know if there's 16th notes there or what, but make sure those notes are even. Da 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 da. They've got to be really crisp and even there. And I'll let you work on that on your own. Okay. All right. Do you have any other questions?
No, sir.
All right. Well, it has absolutely been a pleasure to see you and meet you from all the way from Texas to Mississippi. So you have a wonderful day and good luck.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Claire, that was great. We expect to see you in Target buying some more of that confidence soon. Up next is Andy, and Andy is going to play an Allegro in A major by W.F. Bach. Anytime you're ready, Andy.
Hey, Andy, I'm looking forward to hearing you play.
Okay.
All right, Andy. Thank you so much for playing that. It's really nice to hear you. Let me get a couple of questions for you first before we get started. You're what grade in school are you?
7th.
7th grade. Okay, that's great. And then for this piece, what do you know about the background of this piece? What can you tell me about this piece and the composer?
He likes switching between forte and piano.
Well, no, I mean, can you tell me what is this? What is the style? Who is the composer?
W.F. Bach.
And what does WF stand for?
Wilhelm Friedrich Bach.
William Friedemann Bach. Yeah, and so that sounds awfully familiar to another very famous Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach. Do you know the relationship?
Is it W.F. Bach's his son?
He is, yeah. William Friedemann was a son of Johann Sebastian Bach. Yeah, so it's one of the Bach boys, you know. So they had a whole gang of them. There was a whole slew of them. He had I don't know how many kids, like a gazillion kids. And so several of them became composers after Bach. So this style, one of the interesting things about this is that his sons were basically, they decided, the composers, they're the old man, his style of composing is really kind of old fashioned. We're going to try something new and exciting and different. So there's some different style changes that happened from when their father was composing to when they were composing, and sort of a different texture and all that, and sort of some different thoughts and aesthetic of how it should sound. So it's really cool. Now, you said something about he likes to go back and forth between forte and piano. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I agree. I mean, in the score, there's some markings in there that tell me, echo kind of moments, right? Which is a great idea. That was also becoming really more popular because we started to get instruments that would make that possible, on a piano, an actual piano. Bach would have been composing for a harpsichord. And by the time we get to Mozart, we started to have pianos available that were more like what we would consider a piano now, right? So let me hear you play. I want to hear this opening one more time. Is there something really important? Would you just play Can I just hear up to there and stop? All right, good. Now the last two notes that you play, the last two thirds that you play, the right hand, when we play, we have that chord and then we have that, right?
Yeah.
Which of those two is supposed to be louder?
The first one.
Oh, I didn't hear that at all. I heard this. That's what I heard. So in your performance, if that's what your expectation is, as you told me, that the first one is supposed to be louder than the second one, then I need to hear that in your performance, right? So would you just play that little bit of that measure right there? Just play those two beats. Yes. Now, how did you make that possible? When you played that time, it was louder than softer. What did you do physically to make that happen?
I played harder.
Oh, we're getting that word again, harder. I've said to the other two kids that just played, we don't use the word harder. We don't use the word push. We don't use the hit or strike. When we talk about, I have a pet peeve about that. So rather than say I play harder, you could say I'm a little heavier, and then it's a little lighter. I like to use the words that way. Just it sounds more nice, not mean to the piano. So physically, what happens is I drop. I mean, I don't know how well you can see, but I drop down, and then I lift up. I don't push down and go out. I literally lift my hand up. And on the way up, I catch those keys at the lightest possible moment. Can I just see you do that with your right hand? Now that was lovely. I'm going to see you play that in a minute because I hear your sound before I see anything. So I'm waiting to see your hand do that on the video. And I'm about to see it now. Okay, that looked pretty good. Like I said, there's about a couple of seconds, millisecond delay here of video and audio. So the drop and then the lift. Do you have a delay also in when you hear me play and then when you see it?
No, not really.
Oh, okay, good. Well, it must be my internet must be slow or something. So the drop and then the lift do you see what moved first? My wrist is moving first and then my fingers follow.
Okay.
Would you do that one more time? Can you make the second one softer? Yeah, that's better. That's more obvious. Now, I mean, that's one of the most important things that you can fix in this piece. In this style, that idea of like a two-note slur, I mean, I know these are thirds that you're playing, but really all it is like a two-note slur. In this style, when we play those two-note slurs, the last one has to be softer unless there's something else in the music that the composer has given us. But that is a stylistic characteristic that we have to make sure we hear. And it's hard to do because you got to go on. I mean, we started again, right? But you can breathe there. Right? Okay, so this is what you're going to do. I want you to play the first section we just played, and then you're going to add the second one. And at the end, we've got that, you know, and right there. You hear it?
Yeah.
The last note is going to be the softest. Going to hear both those phrases with another performance. Okay, good. Thank you so much. Now, to sort of put it in a context, be careful that the first one is not really obviously like accented loud. We just play louder, okay? So you have to kind of sort out physically how you're going to make that happen. That it's not just like wah, you know, it's got to be like da, okay? And then secondly, maybe it's just here, sometimes online listening, I hear things differently than maybe what's in your presence. It seems to me when I'm listening to you now that your left hand is actually louder than your right hand. So when I'm hearing this, I'm hearing instead of. Do you hear a difference there?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you could bring out your right hand a little more and just sort of tone down your left hand a little bit. I'm sorry. Can you do it one more time? Wow. And again, Andy, I can't believe the difference in that. It's a totally different effect. And you communicated so clearly to me that the right hand is in charge. The left hand is just down there as my support system. That's the harmony. That's that lovely cellist that's over there on that cello, you know. You're the violinist. The cellist is not the center stage, all right? And you just made that beautiful change there. I could hear it so clearly that time. All right, now it's the same thing in the next section. You know, I love that. I love that left-hand part right there. I think that is so much fun. Do you like that part? What's your favorite part in this piece? This is such a little gem.
I think my favorite part has to be like the first part of it.
The first section?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I like that middle section, that minor change. It's so dramatic, but it is just a little gem of a piece. I have a student that's working on it right now, and he's really enjoying playing it too. So it's really cool. And he has some of the same similar problems that two-note slur thing. I've had to talk to him about that over and over and over again. So you're not the only person in the universe that's had that issue. So don't think so that that you're the only one. But this section right here is such a cool. It's almost like there's a duet like now, like there's more interplay between the two of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you feel it? I think here it's okay to bring out the left hand a little bit more, just because it's kind of exciting and interesting. So that, but still right there, that's a decrescendo if I've ever seen one. You should write that in. If you don't have that in your score, you should write a decrescendo right there. But you might not have a pencil, so somebody needs to give you a pencil, or you write it down after we finish talking. So can I hear you play right there? Write that section. Yes. Now, your left hand has to sound absolutely rock solid steady. Do-do-do. Can I hear just your left hand? Yes. So listen to mine. You hear that little at the end? I kind of got softer. Can I hear you one more time? Yeah, that's got to be really solid. It's just an arpeggio, right? So okay, one more time. Make it beautiful. Yeah, now. Sorry, that was horrible. So you got that idea that the right hand's a little louder, but then my left hand's really interesting. One more time. Beautiful, even left hand 16th notes. Okay, yes, that was good. At the end, that right there, just lift. Don't play it staccato. There's a difference. Do you know what the difference is?
Staccatos are instantly picking up.
I can barely hear you though. What'd you say?
When you play a staccato, you instantly lift up after you play the note.
Staccato is a really quick release, isn't it? It's like you get off the key really fast. And just a lift, or what we call detached, we have different words we can use. When we detach something, we just lift off the key. We don't immediately, we're not as aggressive, in other words. So when you do that right there, just lift up, not bounce off. Can I hear it right there? Yeah, now a little softer on the end one and I'll be happy. Yes, and then the next one is the same thing when you go to the, right there. Can you go to measure 13?
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. So that last one you just released off. So we got, I'm sorry, let me get that. It's very elegant. We're not, like bouncing off too fast. Okay, good. Now, in this section over here in the B section, I love what you did dynamically in here. This was so nice. It was so dramatic. And your arrival there at the end of that section when you get to the, right there, I love that. And then we got this little, and then you go on, right? Can you play this section? I thought it was really beautifully done dynamically. Can I hear that whole section? That was great. and then we start a little softer. Right? That was really good, really good. The whole thing and all this. That was beautiful. I love it. Do you hear that little crescendo in there when you play it? Do you feel that?
I guess I kind of did.
Did you? Is there anything in your music? Because I know I don't have it in there, but I thought it sounded like you did a little crescendo there. Can you start right there? Can you start right there? Yeah. So you start a little softer, and then a little less at the end. You know, this one right here, I just discovered there's a second version of this. It goes. It just goes up, instead of going. There's two sort of versions of this. I just discovered this with another edition. Because you go down in your score, but the other one it just goes back and forth between G and A. So anyway, can I hear that one? Just a little crescendo, a little decrescendo. Yes. Okay. Now here in your score, do you have a little in the right hand? Does it tie there or does it resound the C?
It has a tie.
It has a tie. Okay, because that's the other thing I discovered in another edition. There's a repeated C instead of a tie, and there's a release at the end of that, right? I'm sorry, and then there's a release, obviously, because you got to get to there, right? So can you hear a little release in between? Sorry, let me get this. So you hear me break in between those?
Yeah.
Can I hear you do that? Okay, I hear your right hand lifting, but I don't hear your left hand lifting. So you're going to lift at the same. So if we do it, up, can I hear you play it that slowly and obviously break between both each time? Yeah, that's the lift that I want. I don't want an accent at the end, but I want the lift. So you got that, you know, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if you've noticed a theme here, but it's all in this piece. It's all about the releases at the ends of things. Okay. So if you don't remember anything else from today, I've asked the other participants, do you have an assistant in the room that's writing down everything that I say?
No.
And if not, you have to remember when you get done, write down, lift at the ends of phrases, the lifts are softer. And they're released, they're not like staccato-y lifted, they're just lifted off the key. Just those two things will transform your performance into a beautifully styled performance of William Friedemann Bach and that Gavotte style we're talking about. It's a beautiful, elegant style. Nothing would be sort of harsh or there's a certain sort of elegance to the sound. And you have so many qualities already there. You have really clean, crisp fingers, and all of that's working. Now just add those beautiful little endings and breathing between, and it will make a fantastic performance of this. Okay?
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
No.
Fantastic. There's some really nice playing there. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Andy, you did a great job. So up next, we have Andy's brother, Colin, playing music of J.S. Bach, the dad of Andy's piece. All sorts of family things happening. So up next is Colin playing J.S. Bach's Gavotte from the Fifth French Suite. Anytime you're ready, Colin.
Colin, I'm so glad to hear you. I'm looking forward to hearing this.
Thank
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Colin. It's nice to hear this. Nice performance overall. There's such a, again, like your brother we were talking about, there's some really nice clarity in your sound and the way you approach the style. So I'm curious to find out a few things about this piece. So, you know, we discussed with your brother that his piece is by William Friedemann Bach, how was he related to J.S. Bach again?
Son, I think.
Yes, one of his sons, yes. Several of them became composers also. So this style that the elder Bach, the father, Johann Sebastian Bach, is a little different than what he was playing. It's from a set of pieces that you probably know about. What do you know about this piece, about this Gavotte?
It's a dance.
Oh, very good. Yes. So tell me about this dance. Are there any characteristics about the dance that we see in the music?
It's not slow, but it's not supposed to be like really like energetic either.
Yeah, well, it's an upbeat kind of tempo, isn't it? It's a little quicker, but not like fast, ridiculously fast. Yeah. No. Have you noticed that this the theme of this? Okay. At the beginning, we have this. I'm sorry. That right there, we have this, and then we see that often at the ends of the, and then have you noticed that it that kind of little idea happens often in this piece?
Not really. I didn't notice.
Oh my goodness! That's one of the most important things about this Gavotte that you should know. And then I'm curious too. Have you ever watched a Gavotte, like the dance, the choreography? I'm sorry, have you, or yes or no? I couldn't. Oh, immediately. The minute you get done with this, go to your phone and YouTube and look up Gavotte dance and watch. Because this was so important in the character of this performance of this piece. All right. The choreography, the dance itself, which was a social dance. I mean, this is what everybody did. The Gavotte was hot in like 17 whatever, I mean, everybody was doing it. The Gavotte, the minuet, passepied, the gigue, the bourrée, you name it. There are all these dances. They were hot. You go to any fancy ball and you're going to dance the Gavotte, okay? Totally break down and do the Gavotte. So it's so important that we understand it comes from a dance style, from characteristic. And in Gavotte style, in that core element of a Gavotte, there's this upbeat. There's a 2-beat sort of upbeat. You feel it? And we did that every measure. Up, up, down, and up, down, up, down. And then it's a longer phrase. And then you start it again. Up, up, so I want to feel that up, up, down, and up, down. When you play just the opening 2 lines, just to the repeat sign. So feel that, like you're dancing, it's like an up, up, down. Okay, let me hear you. I need to hear that in your sound. Okay, now that was interesting because I heard this. This is what I want. You hear the difference?
Oh, so you want the third one louder than the first 2?
Yeah, the first two are upbeats.
Oh.
Yeah. That's the stuff. So we go up, up, land, and that's up, up, land, up, land, and then da. Right. Yes. Feel the first two as an up motion, and feel the third one as a down motion. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Let's hear it again. Right. Now, I heard it that time. I heard it that time was much different. That's headed in the right direction that we're talking about. But it sounds a little like I have two left feet. I'm a little clumsy because you're landing a little up, blah, up, you know what I mean? If I was watching you dance this, I would see like an up, blah, like a fall. So I just need an up, land. Don't give it to me it's not too heavy. Make it more like a light salad for lunch, less like a 3-bean burrito for lunch. How's that? You got that reference? So up, down, and it's up, down. Just don't give it too loud. Try it one more time. Okay, that's a much more elegant sound. That's much more controlled and elegant. There's a couple of them that were a little wonky, they say. But that was so much more elegant and more in line with the style. So the last thing will be when you play that measure 5 and you go to the do. Can I hear just your right hand? You know where I'm starting at the pickup to measure 5? Can I just hear the right hand? All right. Is there any way, can you play those 3 thirds legato? Yes. So we got up, down, and it's legato. Play that one more time. Try to get that legato in the thirds right there. Now, it's going to be hard to put that with the left hand because you got this. I'm sorry. Because you got all this left hand, all that's going on down there. But you can do, it actually complements each other. Can you play just measure 5? Both hands right there, just that much. All right, yeah, got some work there to do. What finger numbers are you using for those? Is it 1, 3, 2, 4, 3, 5? Yeah. Yeah, that should make it easier to do. So if you do just legato, both hands. That's much better. Just play just those 3/8 pulses. Both hands. Yeah. Yes. And you're going to make that one gesture. One more. Good. Now we go. Right. So now. Right. Now add on the beginning of that measure. Did you hear legato in your right hand? Yeah. Did you, when you played that hands together, did you hear legato in the right hand? It's a yes or no.
Not really.
I know what I heard. I'm just wondering what you heard, because ultimately, I mean, you're the teacher on your own. I mean, I'm not there obviously, and your teacher is not going to be there when you practice. So when you're playing on your own, those are judgment calls you have to make, as especially I mean, what grade are you in?
8th.
8th grade. How long have you been taking piano?
5 years, 4.
Okay, enough time that you know you're a self-sustaining kind of a student. In other words, you're old enough that you probably had enough experience now that you're like, okay, when I'm playing, am I really listening to what I'm doing? Do I hear what I think I hear, right? And so when you're practicing, and okay, here, Dr. Donald said, I need to play that legato. Do I actually hear that when I play it? So I want you to just play it one more time. And actually, I'll make it easy for you. Start in the 2 beats before. And play that much. And your job is to listen and tell me at the end. I'm going to ask you, did you play the thirds legato? And it's a yes or no. Okay, do that. Okay, stop right there. Were the thirds legato, yes or no?
Yes.
They were, and you heard it exactly right. Yeah, so now that you know that, you have to put a little mental sticky note there and say, when I'm playing this on my own, I have to listen for that legato right there. Okay, it's just little things like that make all the difference. All right, excellent. Now, I love the idea that you're doing little like crescendo, decrescendo kind of variety in terms of dynamics. What we have to be very careful about. Now, I'm just going to, I may step on toes, I don't know, but I'm just going to say, you have to be very careful in Baroque literature that you don't over-romanticize Baroque literature. It's a touchy subject for some people, but I love the idea of variety in dynamics, but in the context of the period, what can you tell me about dynamics in Baroque literature? What do you know?
There's very few because they were using a harpsichord.
Thank you. You said everything right there. Yeah, unless you had a harpsichord that was a 2-manual harpsichord, which they do exist, what you got is what you got, as they say it. It was one sound, it was one dynamic, that was it. If you had a second manual, you could actually set the manual so that one could be louder and one could be softer. That would be possible. And in some Baroque music, there are writings about like that indicated in the score, like the I don't know if you know the Bach Italian Concerto, perfect example of it. You could play it with 2 manuals, and one would be the soloist, one would be the orchestra. So we have to be very careful if we add dynamics into the score that it doesn't sound too romantic music like. So you have a long game in terms of dynamics in some of these phrases. So for instance, I love when you did where was it? When you go right in there. When you got that on measure, I'm starting measure 12. You know where I am? Right there.
Mm-hmm.
Can you start at measure 12? I'm not sure if that's possible or not. So.
There?
You're starting at measure 12. I don't know if you have measure numbers or not.
I did. My measure 12, it's my right hand's like. That's my measure 12.
I tell you what, let's just start right here. Right there, and go to that next section. Stop there, yes. So where you just played that, so the right there. So be careful that it doesn't get too. It's a little too. I'm getting a little seasick over here. I'm getting a little like I'm gonna heave for a moment. Like I don't know if you can see what I'm. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. So we gotta tone it down just a little bit. Think of it as a longer line. It goes all the way to there. We don't have the You know, can you play just that part and think of a really, really long crescendo?
What measure?
I'm starting to measure 12.
So,
Yeah, the next measure. Where your left hand takes the melody.
okay, I got you.
All right, I want to just hear you play just that part. I don't want the other stuff. All right, now, if we follow my directions from before, when I do the bum, 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 those three notes, which one is supposed to be the louder?
The D sharp.
Yeah, so not the first. He goes up to there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So be careful about that. Do that one more time. Thank you. That's much more in line with what I'm talking about. Now, what my idea is, what I'm talking about is that this is if I started at the if I had a gesture like a hand, like with my hands in the air, look at this. I would do this. I would go bum 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 ba da dum bum bum ba da dum bum ba da 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 dum bum bum. And we end up with a big huge hug at the end. Okay? But I'm hearing bum 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 ba da dum bum bum ba da dum bum. I want to hear dum 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 da da dum bum bum ba da dum bum ba da 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 dum bum bum at the end. Can you try it one more time?
One hand or both?
Both, yeah. Thank you. Okay, that's a long phrase and that's hard to do, but that is so, you're headed in the right direction with this, okay? So overall, this whole piece, everything is based on this bum, bum, ba. There's an up, up, down. We've established that. Look at you have a pencil. I love it. Oh my gosh. You win the prize today. I already handed out one prize earlier, but you get this. I'll hand you. There's your prize. Mm-hmm. Okay. No. That's great. Yeah. So it's an up, up, down. We feel that in this. This is the style. This is the characteristic of a gavotte. And then we have to be careful when we're doing our dynamic shaping that it doesn't become too, Liszt or Rachmaninoff or Mendelssohn or Grieg. Different era, different style. Okay. All right, that's some really nice playing. This is a very difficult piece, and it's a difficult style to handle. And at your age, that's really beautiful what you've done. Thank you so much. Do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay, I'm so glad I got to hear you today. Make those little adjustments and those changes, and this is going to be just a beautiful, fantastic performance. All right, thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
Nice job, Colin. Speaking of Grieg, up next we have Will, who's going to play the Nocturne, Opus 54, number 4. So anytime you're ready, Will.
Okay. Yes,
I can't wait to hear this. This is one of my favorite pieces of all time.
well, I'll try to impress you, hopefully.
All right, Will, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, great. Hey, so what grade are you in school?
I'm in 11th. I'm a junior.
Okay, good. How long have you had this piece?
I think I got it probably mid-January after we, like, the second lesson after we came back from Christmas
Wow,
break.
that's pretty fast. So you January, I mean, February, March. This is March. I mean, early March. That's pretty. You've done some good work on this in a relatively short amount of time, and playing it with a level of sensitivity that it feels like it's comfortable to you. Does this piece resonate with you? I mean, do you feel connected to this piece?
Well, I do like the style of music from this. I forgot what the time period was. Was it the contemporary time? It was with.
Somebody's in trouble. It's not contemporary. It's romantic
era. Yeah. Well, it's like because Claire de Lune was around that. I really like that piece, and this piece just feels similar to it all,
Right.
especially that change in the key.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love it. I mean, Claire de Lune's a little later. Yeah, that would be a Debussy. That would be more impressionist contemporary. But yeah, there are facets of that I understand. What is it that appeals to you? What's your favorite section in this piece?
It's either the very end because it just feels like really pretty and like soft and just quiet, or the middle part at the. I like that.
The middle section wins it for me. I just love this section, and I just want to do a couple of things with you today. There are so many things that you played already so beautifully with this. So what I'm doing is just kind of making it really just a couple of special things that I love about this piece. What the difficult thing at the opening section and throughout the majority of this piece is when we've got these offbeat things, and then we've got this triplet feel, in the middle between the hands. So when we look at this, this shaping. We've got, how many layers of sound do you have there?
You've got really kind of three because you have that bass note and then the melody.
Exactly. You've got three layers of sound. Okay, what is the most important sound layer first? What would that be?
Like the most important one and the first one that like comes out that you need to hear.
It's the top one, isn't it? It's the melody
Yeah,
line, right?
the
That's
melody.
the first. If we did priority, which one is more important? The melody would be first. What's the second most important layer?
I think it's really I might be wrong, but the bass, the low.
No, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. It's the bass note. That's our foundation. So we have a melody, we have our foundation, and then you got these chords in the middle that are quieter, right? So overall, you do a really nice job of that. You got them in check, you know. So we've got this right hand melody, the left hand. I'm sorry, right? And you did a really nice job of that, except when I got to the little grace note thingies right there. Be careful on that moment where you come to there that the A is I know there's a little bit of an accent there, but I think we're gonna lean into the C sharp a little more because that's the melody line and then the resolution of that. Do you see where I am in that?
I see where you measure 6 and like measure 8 in both of those.
Yeah, exactly. Can you just play the right hand there and just lean into the grace note a little more? Play the second note, the little A by it, a little softer, and then the D, and then that A flat is quieter. You hear there's like 2 layers there. Can I hear that? Just your right hand. Good. Now I want to hear the A because that's an important note. It's kind of a dissonance. So we do hear it. Can you play that one more time? Yeah. Hear that D and then the A flat. So if there were multiple instruments there, we would have one instrument playing the C sharp and the other and the D, right? Then we have this other instrument that's in opposition of it. It's kind of cool. It's going there and it's going out. So that's a kind of cool moment. You've got 2 things that are vying for attention right there. So I just want to hear the top one a little more obvious. Okay. So let's go back now. Let's go to the. Hear that whole phrase, both hands.
I don't think I did.
Just a little more C sharp. Just a little more C sharp. Yeah, now I can hear your C sharp a little better. And you know, I don't have to play it really fast, that grace note. I can lean into it a little more. So you hear it's a little lazier. Play it one more time. Yeah, now if I can get the C sharp, D a little louder, then the A and the A flat, I'll be really happy. Let's do that one more time. Oh, now that's beautiful. Yeah, there's some really nice things that you made there to happen. And that's an idea that you lean into both of those, but we want to hear the top one as melody. All of a sudden, it's kind of like a duet right there, you know? There's another singer that entered the room, and they started singing too. All right, good. So, and then when you get to the end of this, can I go to the bottom of that section where you're on the... Right here?
Yes, sir.
And hear that, especially that last measure right there.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So lean in more. That A, the E flat. And then we have this resolution. It's a gorgeous moment, gorgeous moment. Okay, now over here, you're you know what I call this next section? I call this, it's like a
Well,
bird.
yeah,
It's like
of all the-
birds, isn't it?
It's like a fluttering, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you hear? I hear birds here. So like when you're playing that, you know that. You know, it's like they're getting warmed up. You know, there's birds out there, and it's in the morning, and he's like, "I'm gonna start." So you're kind of, it's like a bird kind of getting it started, and then it gets a little faster and a little faster and faster. You did a beautiful job of writing in a rhythmic, what I would call a crescendo. You get it? It kind of speeds up gradually. Isn't that cool? And I think you're doing a beautiful job of this. Would you play that section right? Yes, that's great. Now, I don't know if it's me, you, the piano, but I don't hear every left hand. I don't hear the ba, 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 ba. It's like a heartbeat, isn't it? So we got, can you hear, just listen to Mike, can you hear all of my left hand? Did you hear all
Yes,
the
sir.
chunk, chunk? Okay, I need to hear all of yours.
Yes, sir.
Can you do that again? Yeah, yeah. I heard everything. I didn't hear the right hand kind of dropped out too. But this left hand is a very correct, it's a very sweet kind of caressing the key. You know, you're into the key, just on the top of the key. Chunk, 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 just the top of the key. Can I just hear your left hand? Right. Good, Will. Great, Will. So, you know, I tell my students right there, if you play, I know it's harder to control it, but if you flatten out your hand a little bit, it's easier to play that a little more muted. That's a little flatter hand. Now you have to be really careful that you control it and you can play every key at the same time. But that will get you a different sound effect there. You know, this is all about sound effects in this section. There's this bird up here. Then we have, you know, whatever's going down here, I don't know, but it's a soft kind of murmuring kind of sound, isn't it? Now, it's the same thing when you get into here. When you go to this section, that left hand, it's flowing. It does this. I know you can see, you're looking at the screen. It's like ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. It's like one motion up. I roll my hand. I come back down. Going up, going down. So ba-da-da-da, 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 ba-da-da-da. Think of it as one motion, and it makes a really beautiful flowing sound. Can I hear you play right there?
Both hands are just the left hand with them.
Let's hear both of them. And in the right hand, I have to make sure I hear both notes. I don't know if your teachers talked to you about that, but I have to hear both notes. I'm sorry, wrong key. But all of that. Both notes sound. Right, right here. All that. And go right there.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I use a rocking motion with my hand like this. My wrist is really involved. Okay.
Okay.
Make sure that Yeah,
I probably
don't
need to do
forget.
that because I'm just
Yeah,
sobbing.
it's not just all about fingers. Yeah, you got to use that wrist and the arm to get that to really sound beautifully. Can I hear that section, please?
Yeah, I
Great,
definitely made
thank
a
you.
few mistakes.
Oh yeah, well, don't we all? You know, welcome to the club. So right here, right there. I don't know how well you can see what I'm doing, but
I can,
in my
I can
hand,
see pretty well.
good. So I start here and I rock over. I rock and roll. I rock and roll. I rock and roll again. Now, there are a couple of ways you can practice that. You can do a little bit of detached, just to feel the keys sounding exactly together. And then you can do your rolling motion, and the fingers attack the key, but we also do a detached. You know, you might have been told that before. I don't know, were you?
Well, it was mostly because we saw the staccato signs and we were just.
So you kind of have to feel like it's a staccato. It's like a staccato that's housed within a legato, because your fingers have to be very clear and crisp, but your hand has to smooth it all out. Okay. All right. Now, in the measure with a triple piano, I don't know if you guys have talked about it with your teacher or not. I sometimes throw in there, if you want to use the soft pedal there, have at it. It's a special moment.
Okay.
But that's up to you and your teacher. I'm not gonna insert myself into that. But you might say, hey, we talked about maybe using the soft pedal there. It changes the color, because that's what we want there. I mean, it's this beautiful moment, you know, before it. And then all of a sudden, the blanket gets put in there. You know? And then slow. Right? And it explodes there. All the birds in the forest have just said, we're joining into this big old choir. Okay?
Yes,
That's
sir.
what's going on, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a story. You're telling a story.
Yes, sir.
Well, the next section basically reiterates what we talked about, so I'm not going to bother with any of that. You've already heard my spiel on the opening. So do you have any questions for me?
I was thinking, what did you, when you were at the top, I think it measure 16 and then also measure 19, would you rather have it like when you do the two grace notes, and would you rather have it like light on the very top one, or make it resonate so you can hear it?
At the end of the bird call?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I hear ba-da-dum. I hear it. You know, you can depend on if you want to go away from it, but I have to hear it. So I want to. And right there's an accent, right? And then the next one's softer, and then we do the same thing here. So it depends on what you want to. But you have to hear it.
Okay.
Don't. I wouldn't play it fast if that's the question.
Okay. All right.
Does
Thank
that
you.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
It does.
Okay. Well, you're doing some really lovely things with this. I'm excited that I got to hear this and hear it, and hopefully it will continue to grow and mature and be just a beautiful performance with you, and tell the story. You know, these birds are singing.
Yeah.
And then all this other stuff. It's like, in the Nocturne's it's about music of the night. Obviously, I'm sure you've already talked about that with your teacher. So it's creating this sort of mood and atmosphere and this storyline that's just really magical, and those birds and that middle section, really, that's the drama. That's the high drama. Okay. All right. Well,
Yes, sir.
thank you so much for playing. I really enjoyed hearing you today.
Thank you.
Great job, Will. Scott,
sir.
thank you so much for doing this. This was just amazing, man. I know the kids enjoyed it. I hope you did.
Yeah. Oh, this has been a blast.
Awesome.
I mean, and the story, like I said, my whole, what I try to do with all my students, and I have all kinds of students. I mean, you name it, from 5-year-old up to high school, and they're all ages, all levels, all abilities. It doesn't matter what age, what level. The most important thing is that music be expressed so beautifully, and that the story, try to find what that connection is and what the story is, and then bring that to life through your sound. That can affect people's lives around you. And it doesn't matter how fast or how many notes you play, as long as you play them absolutely beautifully with conviction, that's the most important thing.
Well, you did a great job of bringing it out of the students today, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.